This coffee is steaming hot, and I'm also scared to drink it because it's square-shaped. How do you drink from a square-shaped cup? I'm just gonna let that cool for a minute. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today for another video. Today I'm going to be telling you my most anticipated reads of 2018. And also, I apologize if you can hear the gardeners outside. It is gardening day. I'm not sure when this video will go up, so some of these books might come out before I actually, post this video. But I'm gonna try and do in the order of when they come out so that it's coherent and it makes sense. Also, heads up, all of these are biblical fiction novels. So, except for two. So the first book that is on my list for most anticipated reads of, did I say 2018 in the beginning of the video? The first book that is on my list of most anticipated reads for 2019 is 18 Days of Christmas by my good friend Audrey. This book is releasing January 18th, I believe. Which is cute because it's 18 and 18 day. Okay, she probably knows that already. I have actually read this book already. It is amazing, and I'm just really excited for its release because I can't wait for all of you guys to read it because it's the first thing that Audrey has let out into the world, and everything that Audrey does is amazing. She has such a great sense of humor. She's such a good writer, and I can't wait for you guys to read her book. So if it's not out yet, it'll be out soon, depending on when this video goes up, and I highly encourage you all to go and spend your money and buy this book and support this author and support good content. It's super sweet. It's about this guy and this girl and Christmas, and it is never too soon to read a Christmas novel. Just saying, you should read it now because it's perfect for any time of year and it's adorable. The next book that is on my Amazon wish list for most anticipated reads of 2019 is Of Fire and Lions by Misu Andrews. I mentioned this book in my favorite biblical fiction covers video, so if you haven't watched that, go and check that out. But Misu Andrews is one of my favorite biblical fiction authors, if not my all-time favorite biblical fiction author. All of her books, they've all been so good. She's such a great storyteller. She has such a unique perspective, and she really does a lot of research, and I really appreciate that in biblical fiction when the research is well done. And that is coming out on March 5th of 2019. The next book that I have that is one of my most anticipated books of 2019 is Verity, which is book 2 of the Sugar Baron's Daughters series by Lisa T. Berggren. I cannot pronounce that name to save my life. I can't really pronounce any names to save my life. That's why I never mention names in my... But this is book 2 of the Sugar Baron's Daughters series. I reviewed the first book last year, so if you want to scroll way back in my YouTube channel, you can probably find that review. But I did have mixed feelings about it. I found the premise very intriguing. I found the characters very intriguing, but the writing style was a little bit slow for me. And it just didn't really grasp my attention in the way that I hoped it would. But I have high hopes for the second book in the series, just because the first book did, like I said, it had a good premise, and I'm really interested in reading the rest of the series to see how it all plays out. And that releases April 2nd of 2019. The next book on my list is The Heart of a King, The Loves of King Solomon by Jill Eileen Smith. If I remember correctly, I believe that she's written little novellas for the loves of King Solomon in her... Yeah, I think she did this in ebook form, and this is just the paperback compilation of all of those novellas, just a collection, but I just want to add that onto my shelf because I have every other Jill Eileen Smith book on my shelf, and I want to have that one too. Interestingly enough, I haven't enjoyed her more recent books as much as I enjoyed her earlier books and her earlier works, but I don't know. I just want this one. I want to complete my shelf. Can a girl ask for more? And that collection releases April 30th of 2019. The next book in my most anticipated reads list of 2019 is Hadassah, Queen Esther of Persia by Diana Wallace Taylor. Diana Wallace Taylor is a biblical fiction author that I just discovered this past year of 2018, and I read her book Mary Magdalene. I read her book Journey to the Well. I think I've read a couple others, but the names escape me at this moment. Her books are really interesting. They take place not necessarily over an entire story, but the ones I've read have taken place over an entire lifetime, so there's a lot of information, and I really do like them. I think they're very compelling, and they're very well written, and she's definitely a biblical fiction author that I am watching. And also, I feel like biblical fiction authors in general are hard to find, so once I find new ones that I tend to latch on. And I'm like, okay, a new one for me to read, yes. That didn't sound creepy at all. But also, I mean, look at the cover. You can't see because it's on my phone, but I'll flash it up here. The cover looks so interesting, and I probably just solely want this book for the cover, to be honest. I don't know. It's just, for me, the biblical fiction genre isn't really a very popular one. It's not like a huge genre. There aren't tons of biblical fiction authors being published all the time, like there are maybe, say, for historical or contemporary or more mainstream genres. So I think for me, when I find a biblical fiction author that I enjoy reading and that I, can really track with, I do tend to like obsess over their books and buy them all, because I just want to support the genre. And like I've said in my support good content video and my support good content blog and my whole support good content like movement, if you like a genre, then you need to buy the books in that genre, because then you're showing publishers that people want more of that genre, and then they will publish more of that genre, and then you'll get more of that genre in your life. I'm definitely looking forward to that book. Mostly for the cover, but also because I want to support the publication of biblical fiction. And that book releases July 2nd of 2019. And the last book that I have for my most anticipated reads list of 2019 is King's Shadow, a novel of King Herod's court, which is the 4th book in the Silent Years series by Angela Hunt. This is a series I started at the very beginning of last year. I started reading Egypt's Sister. I loved it. I read Judah's Wife. I liked it. I read Jerusalem's Queen. I loved it. And I'm really excited to read this one about the time of King Herod, which I'm very, very excited to read about. It sounds really interesting. I've loved the Silent Years series. I love what it's kind of trying to do in the biblical fiction world, and like to write about the silent years that took place between the last part of the Old Testament and the first part of the New Testament. I really like this series, and I think that's a really unique idea that hasn't been done before, and I've really enjoyed the series so far. I don't know if this is the last book in the series, but it might be, and this book releases on August 6th of 2019. So that's it. Those are my most anticipated reads list for the year 2019. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that, you got some good recommendations. There were 2 in there for those of you who don't read biblical fiction, 2. So maybe you'll pick up those 2. I'm Jenna Van Mourik, an inspired writer and an inspirational fiction reader who reads, writes, and lives for Jesus. You can find me on Instagram at Jenna Van Mourik. I post daily over there pictures of what I'm reading and what I'm doing with my life. You can also find me on my blog at www.jennavanmourik.com, and I post new reviews over there every Monday when I can. Kind of a New Year's resolution thing for me to post over there every single Monday, but we'll see how that works out, because I don't know. I'm just nervous. I hate making commitments. Make sure you're subscribed over there, though, so that you never miss a new review. I post new reviews every Monday and new videos every Wednesday and Friday for now and for the foreseeable future. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you go, and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this. I'm Jenna Van Mourik, and thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!